Okay, so I only have like an hour until I need to be in bed, but I am going to go ahead and start reading The Haunting of Hill House and try and at least get through the first chapter tonight and see what I think. Okay, so first impressions, because we just watched the Netflix special, the first 3 episodes. The first lines are exactly the same as the Netflix special, so I think they're going to have taken like some really specific things, possibly a lot of them. I'm excited to see, but it has the no living organism can continue for long to exist sanely under conditions of absolute reality. Like that whole first part is exactly the same. Okay, and then the very second paragraph is basically like the main person in charge of everything in the Rose Red TV series. So I'm thinking that is going to be pretty close to this as well. It's very good so far. I mean, I've read 2 paragraphs, but I'm enjoying it. Okay, dear. So what were your thoughts of the first episode of The Haunting of Hill House?
There's another movie we watched about in a mansion.
Rose Red with the like group of people and the psychic girl.
I watched that one.
Did you watch that one? It's like 9 hours long.
No, I definitely did not watch that one.
We can watch that too.
There was another. I don't remember what movie it was, but it reminded me a little bit of that. It was I don't know, very interesting. I could kind of follow the timeline more or less. I just have a problem putting the faces to the people.
That's okay. It'll get easier because we only just barely introduced everybody in this episode. Did you like it?
Yeah, no, it was good. I mean,
okay.
Horror stuff really isn't my taste, but this reminds me a lot of. Actually, there's 2 of them that come to mind. The one where the girl is like dead by a serial killer, but she like gets the other spirits to help.
Oh. And they're in the house in that one too, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I do not remember what that one's called. That's got the girl from Little Miss Sunshine, right? That one?
I think so, yeah. And then the other one I'm thinking of is the one I think it was I can't remember if it was the first movie or second movie, but it was the Dancing Through the Tulip Song movie.
Oh yes, Insidious.
Yeah, Insidious.
Yes.
It reminded me a little bit of that too.
It is a little bit of that feel.
Less of the jump scares, more of like Shyamalamalan wishes he could do with his scares, because his scares are very like,
you'd see him coming.
Yeah, usually they're like jumpy, whereas these ones are like, they hit you in a different way rather than where Shyamalamalan is like.
Yeah, I think because there were a few times where in the background there was suddenly something, but it's so unimportant that if you noticed it, sure, but you're so focused on the characters.
Yeah.
So like because I know where they are now, I was watching for them.
Like the sister at the end.
Yeah, or when the dad is coming to get the boy and he's telling them that they're going to run, there's a person behind the boy who suddenly shows up blurry in the background.
I think that was supposed to be the mother, but yeah.
No. Like when they're still in the room, when she's outside and the doorknob is turning, behind the boy there's a figure for just a second.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a lot of things like that that are just like in the background.
Yeah, because I know this one's supposed to have like over 100 ghosts just hidden in the.
Yeah, but it's not important to the plot, and the plot is so sad. So, yeah. So you want to watch the rest?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Well, yes, I did change my nail polish since the last time I filmed. Thank you for noticing. I just finished filming another video, and I'm going to take this time to read a few more chapters of The Haunting of Hill House, and then I'll let you know my thoughts. I thought I will just sit here comfy cozy in my super cute sweatshirt in honor of the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was an incredible person. I'm gonna read for a little bit and then get back to you on my thoughts. I think I left off in chapter 4. So here we go. So chapter 4 mentioned the Cup of Stars. I really like that there's a lot of things that the Netflix series took like verbatim out of the book. It's kind of cute that they just like stole lines directly and somehow worked them in. The book was it's like kind of whimsical and cute, but then she got to this Hillsdale town and like now the tension is just starting to creep in. I'm on chapter 5. I think I want to get a tea and then I'm gonna read a little bit more. Excuse me, are you more important than the book? Are you more important? Are you more important, kitty? Okay. Okay, it has become clear that there are chapters within chapters. So technically, I think I just read chapter 1 then in 5 parts. Because now I'm on to actual chapter 2. Okay. Real chapter 2. Okay, so a lot of the chapters are split up like that. I wonder if that's an old style or something, or if that's just like this Penguin Classics thing to split it up. So see, it's like chapter 2 starts here, but there's like a little chapter 5 started over here. Chapter 4. Interesting. I mean, only slightly confusing. I don't know. I was just very surprised when I turned and it said 2. Alright, so I'm going to start referring to chapters by like, well, and then this one only has like that 1, and then 3 also has like a little 2. Is it just instead of page breaks? I feel like that's particularly going to bother me, but that just might be an older style or something. I don't know. Chapter 2 is really interesting. Just the dynamic between Theodora and Eleanor was really interesting. Also, I just had this like feeling, this like thought while I was reading that chapter that like you read so many old classics written by men that are like these like really highly regarded classics and a lot of them are really boring. But then you read one like this and I was just like it just reads so magically and so beautifully, and it is like the main difference that it's written by a woman, and she's just a really good writer, and it's just really fun. Like, it's interesting to read a story that just feels that you just know was written by a woman. You know, that just has that feeling, that the more interesting feeling. I think the reason that YA appeals to so many girls, because you're just like, oh, this is the female experience. This is how women interact with each other. This is normal things. This is normal ideas, rather than having to slog through this like really male perspective. I don't know. That whole chapter 2, I was thinking about that. So on to chapter 3, and I gotta say, it's only chapter 3, but it's like, we're more than a quarter of the way through this book already. Things are like slightly eerie, like the Dudleys have already been introduced and they're a little eerie, and the house is obviously bothering the women, but it just keeps being like a little bit whimsical, a little bit fun, and I'm interested to see as it gets spookier, as Dr. Montague comes back into the picture. Okay, I'm a little over halfway through the book right now. I have a pen in the middle right now so you can kind of see where I'm at from the front. And I just got through the first scary chapter. So the first night in the house was like nothing, but you know, the doors aren't staying open. Second night in the house begins to try and separate them. Oh, it's getting intense. I really like it. I like the writing style of this book. I like the strong descriptions of like the feelings of everything, like, you know exactly how all the characters are feeling, but I realize you don't really have a description of like faces or like hair color, like nothing like that. The red sweater and red shoes that Eleanor were wearing, or like the feelings that they're having, like the actions they're taking, are all of the like really like strongly described details. But then I don't know what Luke looks like at all. But also interesting for a book that was published, I believe it said 1959. Published 1959. For a book published in 1959, everyone is gay. Strongly implied that Luke, at least his aunt, thinks he's gay. Theodora, there is no way she's not a lesbian. No way. But then also Eleanor seems to be portraying lesbian vibes. And we don't know. I guess the doctor is married to a woman, so he's at least presumably straight. But it was very interesting that was a little direct for a book that's that old. I don't know. I also, excuse you, don't scratch the furniture. Thank you. I like this writing style so much, and I don't understand why this isn't a style that's more kind of highly regarded than, I'm trying to think of an equivalent, but like Dracula. Dracula, I don't think I ever finished Dracula. If I did finish it, I forgot it because it was such a slog to read. I don't know that it was necessarily boring, but it was just like, it was a chore to read through that book. This is just so delightful. Like, it's so kind of whimsical and fun, and then when you get to the scary parts, it's like interestingly scary. Like, you really feel it. Yeah, I don't know why I'd never read this one before. Like, this is much more interesting than Dracula to me. I feel like I have to like thank Netflix for like putting this on my radar, because I should have read this years ago, honestly. But okay, so the first scary part was in chapter 4. These chapters are actually really long, because now I'm on chapter 5, a little over halfway through the book, and they're aware that the house is separating them. I also really like that each of the characters kind of has their own way of dealing with it. Like we're in Eleanor's mind, and she kind of is like phasing through these personalities, and it's all sort of tied to her not really having a life of her own before. And then Theodora is like trying to make light, but just the like subtle interactions between everyone. And Luke is kind of coming off a bit cavalier, but then he also has those moments where he's almost got an ulterior motive. In the Doctor, I'm seeing a little bit of the like rose red craziness. Also just like this jolly, friendly man who's like interested in this house. It's interesting that they all have like these dual personalities going on. I'm just really enjoying it so far. I think I'm going to read the rest probably tomorrow at the rate I'm going. I'll just finish it up tomorrow. And we'll see how scary it gets. I do think I don't get as like viscerally scared reading as when I'm watching something. But it could just be it's not that scary so far. I'm also like doing my little pedal bike while I'm reading it. So maybe that's kind of numbing down the actual like fear in me. But more I'm just like, this is so well written. Okay, I'm going to vlog down here by Zuko. So The Haunting of Hill House just keeps getting like scarier and scarier. So we've got some new characters going on, and it's like at the beginning it seemed like we were not going to entirely be in Eleanor's head, but more and more we're like completely in Eleanor's head, and she's sort of changing. It's like it's a character change, but she's sort of like becoming one with the house almost. Oh, it's just really interesting. It's interesting to introduce the new characters as like a way to sort of stir the pot, change everything up, and then also create a sense of disbelief. I'm interested to see where this is all going to go, because that like sense of disbelief keeps barely creeping in, and there's not too much left of the book. I've been kind of racing to the end here, but it's also dark. I'll be going to bed pretty soon, but hopefully I'll finish this tonight. But it is a lot scarier than I thought it was. Like, as you get into the like really scary sections, it really like, I notice my heartbeat does start to like really start going, so it's exciting. I just finished the book. I'm just gonna say I had so many expectations, and it still like surprised me in the end. It's past my bedtime, so I think in the morning or tomorrow I'll try and do a more conclusive ending to this vlog, but it was really good. It was kind of what I expected and not what I expected at the same time. It was real good. Alright, I'm gonna go to bed now. Good night. Okay, so we finished watching The Haunting of Hill House a little while ago, because I didn't film your immediate reaction. You liked it.
Oh yeah, I did like it. It was very... I didn't understand why initially they chose to focus the episodes each on each individual sibling.
Mm-hmm.
But after seeing it, each one seemed to have more to the puzzle than, some of the others.
Yeah, it was really good about very slowly giving you all the pieces.
Yeah.
And then, it was actually before we finished it, we talked about the them being the stages of grief.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you pretty much had figured out who was which stage of grief, which I thought I had a little harder time with some of them.
In some way, I still feel like the dad is kind of in the thought process of there being no real children.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
all like the dad
Going through the grief.
projecting his own
I
grief,
do like that idea.
and with the help of the house,
Mm.
you know, being able to do that. I mean, like
Yeah.
it's like I'm waving 50-50 between like it being as it's shown, and then also like, you know, the other side being what I just mentioned, how the father is grieving over the loss of his wife, and the house is kind of giving him the ability to project fake children on as the grief.
That's a good point. Although they had the parts with the children also when they first got there. There could be a implanted memory though, like
Well, I mean,
a lot of things the house did.
Yeah, but because I mean, also like because he seemed to be like living with the wife even after she was dead.
Yeah.
Because so that part's already there, as if he can make someone that he can live with, but not be there.
That makes sense. What I thought it was interesting too during that part, he had like the wife, the good wife, but then there was also the like evil version of the wife at the house, like when Nellie got there. The wife part that killed him. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, well, overall it was a interesting series, and what wasn't as horror-y.
Right, you didn't find it scary because you don't like horror at all. You didn't find it scary. I didn't find it scary. I watched it in the dark by myself and found it incredibly sad, which actually is how I feel about the book now that I've read it. It's mostly, I felt like it was very sad. Like there are scary parts, but it's mostly just like kind of tragic.
Also, kind of funny, like the things that the weird things going on in the house that I noticed versus what you didn't notice. Like there's one point like the hair is moving unnaturally, and
yeah, I never saw that at all before.
Like some random.
And I watched all the like things you missed videos. And they didn't even say that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you noticed a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the hair moving, I didn't even notice pretty much until you pointed it out to me, even when we went back. I love, all the little details that they added in that weren't necessarily just scary, that just kind of gave it more life. Yeah, it was really cool. And then I also made you watch Rose Red, which I probably had made you watch previously. That's more of a horror.
That one I have seen before. I didn't even consider that one horror.
Yeah.
And that's
it's pretty 90s.
That's up there with The Exorcist. Like watching
this is kind of too old.
Yeah, an older horror movie, watching it nowadays, with the exception of It.
Yeah.
It's a clown, and clowns are in completely different level. But
that's true.
The I don't know, watching those older ones are not as scary to me, but I don't like comparing the two. I like how the House on the Hill.
Yeah, Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah, more than.
Yeah, they did an incredible job with that series. It's so like beautifully woven together. But weirdly, Rose Red, the plot line is much more similar to the book. The like progression of events is way more similar than the book. But then I feel like they got the vibe correct in the Haunting of Hill House Netflix series. Like that one is much more true to like the feeling of the book at the end, I thought. But yeah, Rose Red was very much a rip-off of exactly the events following the book.
I also feel it's kind of weird that we're watching these series recently that are you have to watch the entire thing to make it make sense.
Oh yeah,
because like
that's true because we watched.
Yeah, we finished Dirk Gently. We watched. There was another. What was the other one that we watched that was like that?
It wasn't Psycho Mob.
No, not Mob Psycho. It was
I think Dirk Gently was definitely that.
Dirk Gently.
Dirk Gently was strongly.
I'm only thinking of Dirk Gently because we just finished that. But
yeah, a lot of them that like things tie together way at the end, but you have to stick around for it. I'm glad you liked them. Yeah. Thank you very much for your interview. Okay, final thoughts on The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I really liked this. This is probably my favorite horror type novel that I've read. It did have a lot of like the vibe that the Netflix series was able to pick up. Like it was sad. Like by the end, there was a lot of sadness, but it was also like deeply scary. Like the way she describes the emotions of the characters and the way she describes like the change in the personalities and kind of the dual personalities. It's really like, it's chilling. I could see this being just like, I don't know why this isn't a more popular, or why this hasn't been a more popular horror novel, other than that it has that whimsical side. Like I love that it constantly goes back to that whimsical side, that you constantly have the characters like making fun of each other, or you constantly have them kind of making light of the situation, and they're like, oh yeah, we all totally saw how scary that was, but nobody saw it, it didn't happen. It's really interesting. It's a really complex novel. I think if I had time to read it again before giving you my final thoughts, I think it would be really helpful, because there's so much going on. I feel like there's not enough, like, even the notes I took, it's not enough to kind of like place all my thoughts on it. It's so intricate, but also just like fun. It was an easy read. It was an entertaining read. And I feel like you don't always get that from novels that are this old. Also, Pi is down here. He needs to say hello. He must be included. He can't help it. He needs to be included. Look at that happy face. You need to be part of this. Yeah, I would give this, I think I'd give this a 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. The ending, like I said, it was not the ending I was anticipating, and I think that was my preconceived notions from watching, you know, the spin-off material so much. It was extra shocking, but it was also kind of like what I expected, like that balance of being kind of what I expected but still surprising me. It was really good. I was very much impressed. I likes to headbutt things recently to get my attention when I'm not paying full, complete attention to him. So now he's going to be on camera. So please come and join the live stream with Michelle Flores and I on Sunday, the 18th at 12 Pacific Standard Time. That's going to be 3 o'clock East Coast time. Please come join us, and we're going to talk about the book. I'm nervous because even though I took notes, it is kind of like all jumbled in my head, so hopefully it'll kind of have solidified a little more. Maybe I'll do some research, so we're just gonna have a chat about what we thought about it, what was amazing about it, what was not really to the style now. I don't know what we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about a lot of different things, and I can't wait to see her opinions. And I'm going to link, she did a reading vlog as well, I'm gonna link that down below. I will also link you to the live stream, so if you're watching this after the 18th, you can also watch our live discussion. So thank you so much for sticking with me through this vlog. Thank you for sticking with Pi. He needs the affection. He's a needy boy. He needs your love and support. Yes, needs it so much. Alright, and then I will talk to you again soon. Good luck to all of us, and especially to you. Bye!